Once my kid picks up a dead animal and is like overjoyed to play with it, we got a problem. Yeah, off top. Like, I did watch that Dahmer. I finished it, and I'm like, yeah, every stereotype you could possibly fit under crazy white guy, he fit him. Maybe he was the mold for a crazy white guy stereotype. I don't know, but that guy was
I
nuts.
think it just highlighted that shit.
Dahmer was the most disturbing watch I ever had in my life, and I still ain't finished it.
Yeah, bro.
Disturbing.
Very disturbing. Like, I had to step away from the TV multiple times. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, man, did he just beat off the fish guts? Like, you know what I mean? Like, stuff like, I don't know, man. And you know, I like violent shit. You know what I'm saying? I was disgusted, man. I was flabbergasted at what was happening.
Yeah, the level, the shit he was thinking up, bro. Like destroying, those bones, by putting them in the oven and drying them out, and then just hitting them with a hammer and destroying them and turning them into dust, just so
Sprinkling
the
them in the
dude could be,
backyard.
yeah, so the dude could just be around. Man, dude, just some straight up satanic shit.
Yeah, in every sense of the word, he was a monster. I had a few points I took away from it, but that was one of my big ones. Like, the guy had no remorse. He was doing kids wrong. I mean, he started killing early, right? I wonder how much is the story like 100% accurate? Because I heard old girl, Niecy Nash, her character, or not her character, but the woman she's portraying didn't technically live like directly next door or something. I don't know if it's like 100% accurate, but the product they gave us, that is quote unquote entertainment, I thought was really well done and very uncomfortable watch. And mostly because these things are all true things. That's why it was uncomfortable for me. Like, that's, and he
Yeah,
was a monster in every sense of the word. I mean, every sense of the word. Like,
because she didn't live next door to him. She lived in a building next to him. She was an amalgamation of the actual Glenda Cleveland and another lady. But they said he was passing out random ass meat sandwiches in the building.
Oh wow!
And his neighbor was complaining about the smells. The part where he killed old boy, the first guy, I think it was Stephen Hicks, his first victim. He didn't dispose of his body right then. He disposed of his body once he came back from the military, is when he destroyed his bones. He never
decomposed.
Yeah. He didn't ingest blood. They said he ingested like one vial of blood at that clinic, and he was repulsed by it. So it was certain liberties that they did take with it, but the product that they gave us really highlighted the suffering of the families, and I appreciate getting a chance to kind of step away from him as a character, or as a killer, as a person, as a monster, and look at the suffering of the family.
Was that true? Where he was trying to dispose of his first victim body and he got pulled over by the cops? Was that a true thing?
Yeah, that was true, man. All those incidents where the cops could have stopped him early on in his career, and his privilege, or their bias or hatred or bigotry could have prevented him from killing more people. Those are all true accounts. That's what's sad. Oh, where the police got where they got that award, they didn't get that wasn't true. Where they got no, what was that?
Like a cop award or something.
Yeah, some kind of a cop award. That wasn't. I don't know why Netflix decided to go that route, but that didn't happen.
Sprinkle a little more sensationalism on it. I mean, I think, and I appreciate Netflix for showing that, because even Sandman, there was a lot of sensationalized moments of like that told you injustice is out here in this BS. And I think the biggest takeaway for me was the one where I forgot what Dahmer did, but he wound up in the courtroom and the old judge is there, and he's like, "Hey, yeah, man, you remind me of my grandson, man. you're a good kid. I know you're out here. I'm going to give you your second chance, even though this is like his fourth time being arrested, and this time is on like sexual misconduct on a kid. I'm like, what is this? And you could tell these were actual minutes from the courtroom proceeding that were being read off. I'm just like, this. That was the biggest takeaway for me, is that white privilege is so just there. Even if you're like a psychopath, you could just skate by. And I feel like Dahmer, just even off listening to himself speak, I feel like he was just testing the limits of what he could do and just how far he could go.
He was surprised at what he could get away with. That's what was so profound to him. That was another liberty, that family being in the courtroom. That didn't happen. Where the judge was kind of bigoted and told, my man to get his son to
speak English.
Yeah, speak English for him. But that's what was kind of just heartbreaking for me. That that was the brother of the little Filipino brother that he killed. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, that was like a few years before his death. So you go to this case, according to the series, and you in this case, you're looking at this dude who basically molested your brother, and if for the grace of God your brother didn't wake up, he would have been gone. And he stumbled out and got away from Dahmer. But you decide to let this man buy you drinks, and then go back to his place for him to take pictures of you because your family need money. Knowing who he is, it's just, that was real. He knew who Dahmer was, man. And that's what was sad. Like, to go.
The only thing I can say about that kid, and I forget his name, and I think the family is Laotian, but is that I don't think he knew the depths of the monster he was dealing with. Now, I agree with you. If my brother got caught up with this dude, there's no way in hell you're going to catch me. Or I might just bash his face in with a rock. It would have been a giant finesse. Yeah, we can go back. As soon as he turned back, splat. You know what I mean? But that's not exact at all what happened. And his story is the most unfortunate, because by the time that Miss Cleveland finds the kid, he had already had a hole drill in his brain. You know what I mean? My man tried to lobotomize him while he was living just to see what it'll do. And I'm like, this is crazy. And then, so you say the situation with all the cops were real, so they really caught this kid outside and he made up some nonsense about him being his gay lover or whatever.
Yeah, man, the dude, the real story was that the kid was butt ass naked and like bleeding from the behind, and the whole situation unfolded. And because the cops were so biased against brown people and gay people, they didn't give a fuck, man. You know what I'm saying? It was sad, and you could clearly tell a child from an adult. And for whatever reason, these guys decided to let this child go back into this apartment with this grown ass man. And they could have at least took him to the fucking hospital. They didn't expect him. I know it was the height of the, AIDS scare or whatever. Yeah, so they were afraid of, like they didn't want to touch him or nothing, but it's like, damn, at least try to get him some fucking help, man. It was just sad, man. And it was so crazy. Like, I was just so proud of the cops that actually did do their fucking job. You can't even find their names online. You can't find the names of the cops that, stopped the black dude. They might have been a little biased or whatever, but they just did a little bit more digging, and they fucking caught this guy. He had bodies. There were stories where the cops would show up to his place and he would have bodies literally in there decomposing. They would smell the smells and just don't want to investigate because he would throw up I'm a gay man, and they didn't want shit else to deal with him.
That's what I'm saying. Tremendous privilege, and the people he were targeting were already hell to this day. They're the gay community are already looked down upon or frowned upon. So at the height of the AIDS epidemic, that was a playground for a serial killer, man. And I feel really bad. The worst episode by far for me, and I like how you brought up how they talk about the victims more, was man, what's the deaf kid's name? I can't remember his name. That episode was really sad though. That one I had to take a pause for a few days after I watched that one. I'm like, you know what? I don't need
it. Was just profound of what he had already been through in his life, man. As you saw what his mother went through, and your child is left deaf after some kind of a medical supposed like medical treatment, and he's left deaf and having to overcome that. What I couldn't understand was, Dahmer was excluded from the bathhouses, right, for poisoning people, right, and having them overdose. I feel like the gay community back then, it looked like he was frequenting the same spot to hunt, right? I mean, like, if your friend like disappears with this dude, you ain't gonna never bring it up. I mean, how many fucking people gotta disappear before somebody gotta start putting two and two together? Like, this motherfucker was last seen with you. Mike was last seen with you. Tony was last seen with you. The bathhouse, he was only able to do that like 2 times before they said, like, you can't come back around here. And that's what was so crazy, man. And that was another liberty that I can't think of the guy's name, the deaf guy, but they said
Tony
he actually knew him like 2 years.
Tony
It
Hughes,
wasn't,
his name, rest in peace to him too.
yeah, man. Yes, rest in peace, man. It was just, I don't know, it was just heartbreaking um, to see that unfold, man. And then to see it from his mother's eyes was heart shattering, man.
Yeah, it was a powerful episode. I think Netflix did a really good job. That one probably will win him an award or two. But I agree with you, Will. This guy is a predator walking around in plain sight. He's getting kicked out of clubs and quote unquote in these bathhouses and things of that nature. And it's like, how is he still allowed? Maybe it was just because of those times. The community's so disenfranchised, they don't even care to deal with it. We had already seen scenes, and I hope this one wasn't accurate, but I feel like it was, where Miss Cleveland asked the cop, and he's, are you going to take my word? Well, the detective, I don't, that scene when she's at the police station and she's like, you're going to take my word over a person. No, it was the gay kid. The gay kid, he was like, yeah, man, you know how it is to be arrested. And he's like, nah, dude, I don't have no idea how it is to be arrested. You know what I mean? But he's like, so you're going to take my word or a gay white man's word over my word, a black man with a clean record who just happens to be gay. And it's basically, yeah. And, and the kid got to skate with attempted murder again, because I forget who that was, but that was apparently that was a true story too, where Jeff's grandmother had to actually save the kid or whatever.
Well, but in real life, Dahmer, the dude was like 250 pounds, so Dahmer wasn't sure that he could like move the body is what really happened. But there might have they don't know to what extent the grandmother like interceded and saved people's lives. But yeah, the dude was just too big for Dahmer to move around successfully, so he let him live.
That's crazy. He wasn't into the fat ones, huh? That's crazy.
Yeah, dude was too big for him.
Like, nah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, man. This guy. That's another part with Miss Cleveland here. I just could not imagine, and I've stayed in a lot of apartments in my life. I just could not imagine. I'm chilling, watching TV, and I hear the sounds of a man screaming and power chains, things going off.
Right.
I'm smelling weird smells the next day. Like, hold on.
And just the smells. I mean, imagine. I mean, think about like we live around like a lot of like ethnic people and shit when they cooking goats and different shit and boiling chickens and shit. And you're like, God damn, you know what I'm saying? So I just can't imagine what the smells must have been like with just decomposing flesh and him putting people in acid baths and frying hearts and shit. I just couldn't imagine what the fuck those people went through, man.
I've been around necrotic flesh, and when I used to do my thing up in the hospital, in the emergency room, and it is one of the smells that I would never forget. It was that god awful. You know what I mean? So imagine being around that smell, necrotic flesh or a decomposing body for weeks on end.
And you telling me it's pork? Nah, I ain't got time. Me and a couple other neighbors might have to kick your damn door down and see what's going on. Because first of all, this is an all black community, and here you are, this squirrely white guy who looks crazy as hell. And you just in the mid. No, I'm not buying that. And then you bringing these men into the apartment at night. Whatever, it ain't even just a sexual thing. I'm hearing them scream for their lives, bro. Like, like that's not funny. But these men, literally, these are the last screams and gasps of their life. You think that's not going to be a sound? You think that's like, oh, they're
And
not
you never see them leave.
ever.
That's what's fucking crazy, man.
Hold on, guys. I know this guy's up to something. We might have to go kick his door down if the cops don't want to do it, especially if we've called multiple times. Like, nah, we got to go see what's going on. Solve this murder. Solve this case on our own.
And we talked about this, but like even just that scene right there. Imagine as a black man, they would have went through your shit, and that was his first murder, and that would have been the last. They'd have caught you out on the fucking road with a bunch of bags in your back seat. They snatching you out. I mean, at all the different instances where he was with cops, you know, where the cops stopped him or, you know, questioned him, it would have been it.
Yeah, this would have turned to Shawshank Redemption instead of whatever this is. The rest of this shit would have been in jail. The scene where the kid is dancing for his life, though, that's it's not supposed to be funny, but it was.
Yeah,
funny.
right. Yeah, because I mean, it was funny because I mean he was like trying to get the fuck up out of there, man. I mean, when he walked in and he smelled the stench, I mean, like, why the fuck didn't you just turn around and walk the fuck right back out?
Right, because if this was a scenario with a man and a woman, you know what I mean, or whatever, and I'm going back to a woman house and I smell that shit, there is no way in hell I'm going out there. Like, to do what?
And then they went into the room, and then you got blood stains on the mattress.
Oh no,
right.
Nothing's going on.
Big ass barrel in there.
Oh, you just got a random barrel, yo. Yeah, I'm out of here.
I don't know, Sherm. I think if she bad enough, I think you'll stay.
No, it couldn't work in the film, so I wouldn't give up if it did work. There's a dead man on the ground. Yo, you see how bad she was, though? Like, ugh.
I don't know. I think it's a few niggas that was stuck around though.
Feel like if I got to brawl it out with her, I can win. I like my
pants. Like, damn, but she's so thick though. Damn.
Right. Shit, I'm almost 250. Yeah, she can't pick me up. Let's do this.
And it was so crazy how they was drinking those strange drinks and shit. They tasted the shit didn't taste right, and they still drink the shit. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
That one scene, he was like, "Yeah, man, it's just soap and whatnot. Like, are you still gonna drink it? You got soap in it still." Like,
go ahead and rinse the cup.
I mean, you put the shit up to your lips and act like you drinking this shit. And you know what was so crazy, man? This scene right here with the jogger, right? This shit reminded me of the Gacy tapes, right? And John Gacy started off like most serial killers, you know, they start off well, I don't know if he did, but you know, they start off with the animals and shit, right? Then they'll move up to assault and it'll be like some sexual shit, right? But back then, you know, 60s, dudes was just so hardened that when something sexual, something would happen to them, they wouldn't say nothing to nobody. They wouldn't tell the cops or nothing. And if they would just say something, they could have stopped these dudes. So, like, he tried to attack this dude with a bat, and he didn't do shit about it. He didn't report it. And then it was the same thing with Gacy. Like, he molested a dude, and the dude just let it go because he was too afraid of what the cops and different people would think about him. And if they would have, then they would have stopped. They would have saved so many lives, man. It was just, I think, fragile male ego, man. It's sad, man. I think we're moving in the right direction now, but I don't know how much we have though.
Bro, we can barely talk about homosexuality or trans people and people getting uncomfortable now today. I couldn't imagine what a buzz cut cop white guy back then how he would react if somebody told him. He'd either be into it or he'd be totally repulsed, and you would be ridiculed for life. And that was black, white, or whatever. I don't know what that time was, man. I'm with you, Will. I'm glad we're getting to a point in time where we got a little more understanding that things happen in every community, no matter what the community, and wrong is wrong is wrong. And we can't just, turn away because we don't like it or we're uncomfortable with it. These people are human. They deserve to have their peace and freedom too. Just like I feel like I should have my peace and freedom. So
Yeah, but you're a victim though. You can't help somebody did something to you. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
you live in such fear that you don't want to tell anybody that something happened to you.
First
And
of all,
speaking on this thing right here, the naivete to actually hop into somebody's whip to go to their house to hit weights and drink beer, you know what I mean? It's like that is that should throw a red flag right there. You know what I mean? But like he just willingly went into the car, went into his house to drink beer.
I mean, but that was a sign. People were way more trusting, and then beyond Dahmer, times were different then. People could leave their doors unlocked and shit, so it wasn't uncommon. You know what I'm saying? So the times were a lot different, man.
I just think it would have been a weird vibe though if you said, "Hey man, let's lift weights and go drink beer at my house," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just trying to get a ride." Like
Yeah, I
wouldn't.
don't know, but I mean, if you're saying like you got a few hours to kill, I mean, but you kind of know, okay, this is a weird vibe now, but back then, I don't think you would have really felt that way. You know what I'm saying? More people was on that kind of time. They were more friendly. They were more trusting. You know what I'm saying? So you probably might not have thought nothing of it.
See, if I'm a white kid, yeah, I agree with you, but I feel like my uncles or something, they wouldn't, you know what I mean, grandpops or something, they wouldn't have been caught up in that type of way by, hey, come hang with me and we hang at my house. Like, bro, I don't even know you. Are you kidding me? No, I don't know, but yeah, I guess for this type of environment, yeah, that's what they would be on.
It's just stranger danger. You know what I'm saying? Like, where red flags just naturally pop up if a situation don't feel right, and like
But see,
be that trusting is crazy to me.
But Fresh, we learned those lessons because of Dahmer. I remember like playing in front of somebody's house as a kid, and they like look, and they had like holes and shit in the ground and shit. They're like, "Don't play over there, Dahmer." That's what taught me fear. Like I didn't even know who the fuck Dahmer was, but because of this case, that's what taught us to have stranger danger. You know what I'm saying? The Gacy's and the Ted Bundys and the fucking Dahmers. You know what I'm saying? Of the world. Those are the ones who taught us to fear strangers.
That's nuts. My man did a good job playing a real life guy though. Chris was Evans.
It was William Evans or something like that.
Like that.
Yeah, he did a phenomenal job, man. You know what scared me the most? That last episode with fucking John Wayne Gacy, bro.
It was Evan Peters.
Evan Peters, yeah. You talking about the beginning where he has the fake interview?
Well, no, the Ed Gein scene, where they was talking about the old man that they was his father was talking to him in prison, was talking about how they could possibly get him into a mental institution versus like spending the rest of his life in prison. And he was talking about that case that happened back in like the 1920s or 30s or some 50s actually, and the dude's name was Ed Gein. Shit was fucking crazy. But then they went to John Wayne Gacy, that scene where he got that boy in his house and he had that clown makeup on and he poisoned him and shit, and then like drugged him and all that shit. That shit was heartbreaking to see him die like that, man.
I am glad we live in a world where it ain't that damn easy to get them pills no more, because they was ruthless with that stuff, man. Like, yo, just get some pills and we're gonna do what we gotta do, get our victims, get them good and loaded, keep it moving. Like that's nuts to me. I'm glad they got that together. All in all, I think I'm most disappointed with the hero worship when it comes from this show though. Like, it was hero worship then, even though Fresh just had a clip playing from Inside Edition way back in the day. It tripped me out that people would worship a person that did this to other people. And it made me realize, like, they don't care because they don't look at gay black people as humans. Hell, they barely look at regular black people as humans. So when you totally throw the victim away and all of them away, it's easier to put a guy like that on a pedestal. Because I'm really trying to figure out how could you say he's a hero. And when even after I watched this show, I don't know, man. I don't know.
I don't say that they look at, because I mean they did it with Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy killed all women, all white women. It was, and look at like the Night Stalker. I mean, they had just women throwing themselves at them once they got to trial, and while they were locked up, they was getting money and letters and love. I think it just kind of speaks to that dark place in most people. You know what I'm saying? Whether we want to admit that shit or not, but it's like, okay, these are some of the darkest desires that you might keep repressed out of love of God or fear of the law. You know what I'm saying? So it comes from a dark place, man. I don't think it's just necessarily just because they kill marginalized communities. I think it's because it speaks to a dark place in most humans. You know what I'm saying? And this is shit that some people might want to do, and they're just too afraid to fucking pull the trigger and do it themselves. You know what I'm saying?
Because taking lives isn't something that should just come as simple as buying a bottle of half gallon of milk from the store, man. And if you're the type of person that lets religion that needs religion and not be a bad person, then you're a bad person. You know what I mean?
I mean, think about it though, Sherm. I mean, religion a lot of it is based off of violence, bro. I would tell people to go to fuck in there and kill everybody, kill man, woman, and child, and animals. And if you didn't follow it down to the letter, you had a problem with God himself. So, I think our society is really based off of violence. We have a peaceful society right now here in America because we got a big ass military, we got state of the art weapons, we got nuclear capability, we got big ass missiles, you know what I'm saying, gunships and shit. We got a bunch of shit that like we're gonna rain hell down on you to protect our shit. So society is based off of violence anyway, man. You just can't get around it, man. If you break the law, the police gonna come fuck you up and take you to fucking jail. That's just how it is. And you're gonna get fucked up in prison.
I mean, I get America loves the bad guy. And I think I know wars and violence equal progress in some ways. They also equal less progress in other ways. But I think this is strictly an American problem, this hero worship we have for these type of people. Because
I don't think so. I think it's a global thing. Because I mean, if we were to look at like serial killers in Japan and shit like that, you're gonna find those disenfranchised people that connect with the serial killer. You know what I'm saying?
In a whole subculture that can financier and bankroll a lifestyle and thousands and I don't. This as bad as it gets. This is an American thing. This is almost like shooting up a school. I don't think.
I don't think so, bro.
That
I think think about like the Ripper. You know what I'm saying? The Ripper is British. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's a lot of people that love that shit. They love how many movies and shit has been based off of the Ripper, and it's not all American stories. It's British shit too. You know what I'm saying? So I think like India, they have their serial killers. Like I said, Japan. It don't matter. People just at our core, man. It speaks and it resonates with certain people. For some people like us, I feel it scares us. You know what I'm saying? And then to see somebody go to that length and be that evil and just have so much hatred and evil in his fucking heart, and the things that they highlighted in Dahmer, and then like I said, they even highlighted other serial killers in that shit. It was profound and scary, but you got some people that really resonated. They're like, okay, shit, I would, if it wasn't for the law, if it wasn't for these things, or potentially going to hell, I would do this shit. You know what I'm saying? If it wasn't today, look at how even Dahmer said it in that. He said, well, how come you think it's so many of us now? Because they was coming off the heels of Ted Bundy, who had just been put to death. And is him and John Wayne Gacy on top of other fucking serial killers of those times. And what was happening in the fucking 60s and 70s for these fucking bastards to just become so prevalent? Like what caused the explosion in
Well,
serial killers at that time? You know what I'm saying?
I did like the point they brought up with his mom. Apparently, his mom was all over all these different types of medicines in those days. I don't particularly know what they could do, but I do know that once they start handing out those anti-depression pills and all that, things started breaking and cracking. Babies started doing weird shit, start behaving in weird ways. You know what I mean? Not to say that they weren't doing it before, but the amount of numbers that happened combined with the wars and all of this, just the times, I think it was just a combination of all these things. I
So it was
don't
just an
know.
intersecting road that just for him, those medicines, the
A little bit of everything.
war, yeah, a lot of different things just happened.
I didn't approve of how his dad treated. I don't know what the hell kind of bonding thing is that. Once my kid picks up a dead animal and is like overjoyed to play with it, we got a problem there. And I get he was trying to have a bonding moment because that's what he was into. But me and my son I would have an issue because
It's some kids that are into it and become doctors. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I think he thought he was taking them down a positive, path with that shit. I don't think he was thinking that he was making a fucking animal.
no. I didn't. I know, but the obsession with like there's certain things a kid should do. I don't believe a kid's gonna be the smell of death, the sight of death is gonna be instantly intrigued, and if they are, I'm gonna be a little bit, red. One little mini red flag's gonna pop up, bro. Your kid starts you smelling a dead raccoon, and your kid's like overjoyed and trying to pull his entrails out. Hold on.
I mean, but that's because we know what comes from it now, though, Sherm. We know that those are warning signs now. But back
Well,
then,
they
he
knew them
probably
then.
didn't know that.
No, they knew them signs then because Gacy wasn't. These weren't new things. Anybody
But
that
Gacy and them were new things. Ted Bundy was only like a couple years before, but before Dahmer, and
oh,
Gacy was happening like roughly around the same time Dahmer was doing it. You know what I'm saying? So and I think that kind of goes back to the point we was talking about before. Is like I think that's the infatuation is for some is an infatuation and wanting that dark place where they want to do this shit, and then for others it's curiosity and like how could you do this shit, and then for others it's like okay I want to get into I want to understand how your mind works. You know what I'm saying?
to a degree. I think the product that Netflix brought us gave us a lot to talk and think about. I do know that. I mean, just from the whole like the disenfranchisement of a community, the way to raise a kid, the red flags, antidepressant. There's a lot of subjects that were sub subjects that was raised in this, and I think it was a pretty good product. And most importantly, they did not forget the victims. I know some people wanted more, and even the victims themselves said, don't watch this," but it's a good product, man.
I don't think it was a glorification of Dahmer. I think it was a glorification and showing of what the victims went through, bro. I think they did a phenomenal job of like not glorifying him, but actually showing him to be an absolute monster, man. I didn't come away from this thinking that he was some kind of a fucking hero. I don't feel sorry for him. To some degree, I feel like if some certain things had been changed in his life, maybe he could have went down a different path. But he had plenty of opportunities to stop killing, man, and he just enjoyed that shit, man. In real life, he knew what was the deaf guy's name? They said he knew him for like 2 years. It wasn't a few months. He knew him for 2 years, man.
You can argue he was chemically broken. You could argue. I don't know it, but I personally I don't think that antidepressants and things of those nature mesh well with a developing fetus at all. So if it's true that his mom was under that type of stuff, I'm not gonna solely say that was what it was because who knows? That's just it. You could always just be born that way, but I don't think it helped him not, you know, it was just a perfect storm of a lot of stuff that all happened, man. And I'm glad. Well, I'm not glad, but I'm happy that we know more signs now. But it's just making me wonder because these pills have gotten stronger and better. Are in 20 years, are we going to be talking about another Dahmer? You know what I mean? That did way
I
worse.
don't know. I think
And
we
got
talked
caught.
about this before, though.
Mhm.
Technology limits the success of a modern day serial killer to be that efficient. I don't know. I don't have a better word for it to be that successful in their career. You know what I'm saying? You got cameras every fucking where, and your phone is tracking you. You can't do that shit. Back then they was putting in express highways and shit, and you could literally do a crime here in one state and move a couple states over and live a whole new life. You know what I'm saying? The
No, and
world is not like that no more.
I'm going to have to disagree with you because if you know how to manipulate the system, you can get away with anything still, and you could probably even get away with it more easily now because you're one step ahead. I mean, it's easier ways to target your prey. It's not random nowadays. You know exactly who you're going for. You can case study them, all that. It could be a person that's already no one, that's kind of off the grid. If he disappears, nobody will notice. And and who's to say that we're these type of people aren't going missing overnight every night, and they likely are. You know what I mean? I just don't want to
Yeah,
hold.
like there's a lot of sex trafficking and stuff happening right now, so it is possible because like shows like Dexter or things of that nature shows you how possible it could be in modern day times for somebody to be a serial killer.
You know what? That's a good point you bring up fresh too. That guy Dexter is worshipped, and I never understood it. I never bought the concept of the show, but people worship that show, and that's basically about a serial killer. So,
Well, I
yeah.
was initially turned off by Dexter, man, but I love Dexter now, man. I can't lie. I'm one of those people. And it's only because he targets the most evil people, bro. He targets the killers. You know what I'm saying? So that's really the only reason I like the show. But initially, I was repulsed by it until I just caught like a episode where he was like going after some of the most disgusting human beings you could think of, sex traffickers, and he like put them down hard. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
So I'm like, okay, I became a fan of that shit.
I don't know. One of these days I'll indulge, but I'm just not. I'm not the serial killer guy. It's just guys don't that stuff don't excite me, man. Life is beautiful.
Yeah,
Death is promised. I ain't in a rush. You know.
yeah. That one scene that really stuck out for me, man, was I didn't know that it was a eclipse when John Gacy died and Dahmer got baptized on the same day. I found that just so profound. You know what I'm saying? For whatever reason, I know it's scientific. They knew that the eclipse and whatever was coming, but I don't know. I don't know if do we. I don't know. As a black person, I think we look into the supernatural a little bit too much, but I felt like that was just so. That was just a sign. That shit was crazy. That you got one dude asking for forgiveness and one going to the grave unapologetic, and then there's a solar eclipse at the same fucking time. That was crazy.
See, I thought it was a little more crazy at the end. I thought to me it was it's kind of beautiful justice. I don't know how accurate it was, but the guy who killed Dahmer, Sarver, apparently in the show, basically Dahmer goes and finds Jesus Christ. Well, it's like, oh, you found me, huh? And Jesus is like, well, I was waiting. Here's my hand of God right here to bash your fucking head in for all the shit you did. And here's this guy who's like, no, I'm a Christian too, bro, and I don't agree with none of that shit you just did. So I got to be the hand of God to deliver justice. And I'm like, I mean, I wanted that's a lot of how it works too. Once you start proclaiming my name again, boom, oh, bro, you can't be out here talking that.
Yeah, well, that was another thing that they took liberties with. So,
Yeah, I
he
did read
didn't
that.
have no fucking long ass speech with this cat. He just hit him twice and it was over. You know what I'm saying? I
I
mean, I
know.
would have wished that he would have
Yeah,
made him suffer longer, and you wish that scene was real,
yeah,
but
So it's a jail hit, man.
I
yeah,
looked
he
at
hit
it
his
up quick.
ass two times and it was it. And I'm like, damn, he didn't suffer really at all, man.
my little hand of God moment there. I was like, yeah, nah, that didn't really happen like that in real life. But the way the show portrayed it, I dig that. I dig that. You know, like
Yeah, the other guy suffered. That dude, I think he lived for like a day or two after. The other guy he hit in the stall, he
that's
lived for like a couple, another day or two before he died.
that's the guy who pulled a Jussie Smollett, except for he actually killed his wife, right? He like stabbed his wife in the face a few times, or 21 times, or something like that. Just sadistic people, man. You know, you get your head bashed in. I can't feel bad. I almost got a smirk on my face.
Exactly.
Good show though, Fresh. You got to finish watching it. I think you will like it, and the internet will obviously love it. So, Dahmer, I don't know. It's heavy, but it's good.